Hello, freak bitches.
I want to know how he got. I want to know the story of how he got in. Is there a video out there?
Dude,
Scientology? He's been in Scientology.
No, but
forever.
how did he get in? Like, what happened?
That's a good question. I think somebody recruited him from a movie.
He was
set,
good though.
right?
He was
already in movies.
He was in
got
Taps.
him?
Yeah.
Taps.
Oh
He was
my
in Taps.
God!
Yeah.
I want to know how
Taps
that
is
happened.
really good.
I want to know the guy who made that happen.
Dude,
I want to
that
interview
Leah
that
Remini,
guy.
that Leah Remini,
Like, who
is
got
just
him
going
in?
relentless on Scientology. There's like season 4. I got it.
Leah Remini,
It's bad. I
she
got
did my
it.
podcast. She
I
talked
know.
about it. You know, when I first met her, she was deep in it. She was with Kevin James. She was on King of Queens. And that's when I first met her. And he was like, she's a Scientologist. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
He goes, she's
weird.
really nice. She's very cool. I'm like,
Man,
ooh.
that's just
She's a cutie, too.
A mind control
Real cutie.
experiment. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Well, somebody figured out how to control
It's
people a long time ago.
Until
It's
the
called-
internet came
It's
along.
called come up with a set of rules and say that this is like someone's looking out for this set of rules, whether it's God or it's Buddha
The
or
parents
it's
tell the
Odin.
kids.
creative
Yeah.
mythology.
But the
All you have to
crazy
do is
thing
do
is
that,
that
and people follow it. It's,
The
it's
crazy
weird.
thing is the stuff that
Until they
you know.
get the internet.
It's nothing but reports of child abuse. It just
There's a
that you
lot of
have
child
kids.
abuse in cults.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
there's a
Yeah, it's
but
one
no-
of the big
but-
problems with cults.
Yeah.
You know, one of Joey Diaz's ex-girlfriends was in a cult like when she was a kid, and she said that the guy who was the head of the cult molested everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Molested all the girls.
Yeah.
Molested.
He wanted to fuck
fucked
girls.
everybody's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all just
That's who
He
starts
just fucks all
cults.
the girls.
Yeah, well, it's all.
It's
most
what
of these
happens.
cults, that's what happens.
Polygamy.
Yeah, but
polygamy,
the
you
thing
know.
is, that's not the crazy thing.
David Koresh?
That's not
Yes.
the crazy thing. David Koresh, they shut that motherfucker shit down. We're allowing this to happen. It's like we want it to happen. It's like it's a CIA MK Ultra experiment.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait,
We got to that point in the show, ladies and gentlemen, where I realized
I'm giving him more wine.
Scientology to CIA.
Look at the time.
Eddie,
Hey, give him a
I
little
gotta
more
head to
wine.
the
Papa.
comedy
Tell-
store.
Tell us how
come on, let me
Scientology
feed the
came
beast.
about, Eddie.
Let me feed the beast. I
don't
love
know
him.
anything.
Riders
I
on
don't
the
know anything.
storm.
I don't know shit. I don't know anything.
You think like the
But how are
government
they
supports
letting
it,
this?
though?
How? When you look into it,
You gotta look into it.
look into it.
I've been
When you
looking
look
into
into it, hey, think about this. Think about how crazy that religion is.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Which one?
And then think about how it's allowed to survive and thrive.
You're saying like Scientology?
Scientology, even
Yes.
better. I'll do you one better. Scientology doesn't have to pay taxes.
Dude,
they figured out a way how to not take.
motherfucker.
You know
How
what
is
they
that-
did?
how is
I'll
that
tell you.
possible?
I'll tell you. Hold on. I'll tell you. I'll tell you the
Look
actual
into it.
fact.
I'm
No, I'll tell you the
going to.
actual fact. They organized a massive lawsuit campaign against the IRS, and they said that if
they
you can
won.
say that all these different religions, whether it's Catholicism or Mormonism. Mormonism has very questionable backgrounds. Mormonism was started by Joseph Smith, who was a known con man. I mean, Mormonism
Snake oil.
there's like he found it when he was 14. He said he found golden tablets that contained the lost work of Jesus, and only he could read them because he had a magic seer stone. Like when you look at the actual, you're talking about a guy who we know the guy, right? So Scientology was like, well, so fucking what? If you can take that, if you can take Mormonism, like why can't we get tax exempt status? And they said, no, fuck you, you're not a real religion. And they're like, bullshit. If anything is a religion, we're a religion. And in that sense, I support them.
Yep.
I think all religions should have to pay taxes. But I think that if anybody gets a free ride, Scientology should get a free ride too.
100%.
If you're going to have this goofy loophole in,
Yeah.
then
They're
they
all- yeah, they're all
qualify
over
just
the
as
place. I
much
agree
with you. I
as
agree
the
with you
Mormons
100%.
Hey,
or
man,
the
if I was-
Catholics.
If Mormons get a pass,
So that's what happened, Eddie. Is massive lawsuits. It was, and this is all you could find it.
I
It's
saw
all,
the- I
they
saw the
filed-
HBO documentary.
They
I saw that.
filed a shitload of lawsuits, and the IRS was fucked.
You talking about Going Clear, the doc?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so
amazing.
good.
Good book.
It's
Good-
amazing.
good doc.
It's a great book.
Hey.
The book's even better
Great
because
book.
it goes
All that
into the
shit was allowed
history
to
of
happen.
Great book.
It's being allowed
But
to
Eddie,
happen.
everything's allowed to happen. The thing is, no one can pay attention to everything. Everything's allowed to happen all the time. And then once we find out that something's happening, it's like, okay, now what? Like with
You
Waco.
can't shut it down
Scientology,
anyway. You
though.
can't shut down a religion.
Well, you can't shut down anybody's freedom of
Right.
speech. If you have an
Expression.
ideology, your freedom of expression, your ability to gather and talk,
Which
makes
is good.
it-
Yeah, but
which
if you
makes
look
us-
at
I don't know
Scientology.
shit. All I know is if I had a country to run, I would start. If I was running a country, I would start cults and have mind control experiments.
I would too, but I wouldn't have
would.
time in between negotiating oil deals and trying to figure out whether or not we should stay
NATO?
in,
I would make time.
NATO
I
and
would make
Paris
Climate
climate
control.
control. I know what you're saying, and in a way
I
you're
would
right.
in my
In a
my
way, you're
world,
right, but no one has the time to do everything.
There's not enough
to
time.
micromanage the entire world.
They're too busy.
That's right.
It's just there's
There's not
only
enough
so
time.
much shit. You can let
Hey,
people
listen,
take care of themselves.
People got lives. I get it.
You could let
They got
people take care of
they got-
themselves.
hey, Illuminati got kids.
They got keys. Illuminati
I
got
get it.
keys.
It's not enough time for mind control experiments. There's too much shit going on.
Well, they definitely have done some mind control experiments too. That's
No, I'm
what
just
also
saying
part of the
if
problem
I
is.
ran a country, I'm saying if I
Eddie, why
ran
are
a
you bringing
country
up
in this
Wait,
other
I have a
dimension.
question for Eddie.
If I
I'm
ran
not
a
saying they're
country
doing
the way
I'm saying if I
a
did
comic
it,
book guy writes
Shit.
comic books, I would definitely do it
Hold
that
on.
way.
Are you kidding?
Hold on.
This
I
is
got a
what we're
question for
gonna
Eddie.
do. This is
Eddie?
what you're gonna start a religion. You're gonna start a religion. You're gonna start a
Bro,
religion,
that's-
and just you're gonna
Eddie.
bullshit them this way, and we're gonna just
Who's
watch
this
you.
mastermind? And what's
Eddie,
his cut?
who is? I want to know from you, and you better tell me.
My country
I
will
wanna know.
survive at
Hold
least
on.
500
Hold on.
years.
Hold on.
You
Eddie,
know it.
Hold on.
You know it.
Eddie, I have a question.
Brian,
You better
what's the
tell me
question?
this because I know you know the fucking answer, bro.
Am I as a dictator?
Hold on.
Brother, I want you to
As
answer.
a-
No,
as a
I think you got
tyrannical
your. I
dictator?
think you think you're fingering the I want to know right now on this podcast who's running this country.
I have no idea.
Come on, bro.
I don't know.
Give me a little idea because I know you
don't
got
know.
a fucking
I
idea.
don't know.
Bro.
I don't
You're
know.
you're playing dumb right now.
I'm
Can
gonna
I
gonna
ask?
guess. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
guess.
Go ahead.
Satan.
Based on nothing but circumstantial evidence. I'm gonna
Oprah.
I'm gonna guess.
Hold on.
The
Educate
people
guess.
that control the banks. That's I don't know.
Who would they be?
Rothschilds? I don't know. That's
We-
what I
we
hear.
did,
I could be wrong.
hold on a
That could
second.
be Rothschilds. Could be a complete
No, it's not.
fabrication.
We
That's
looked
an
up,
old-
I don't know.
We looked up on the internet
I
the
don't
other
know.
day, and the Rothschilds, like the family. Here's what's hilarious.
internet?
It's 1 billion to like 70 trillion. 700
700
trillion.
700
What?
billion, yeah.
700
What is it?
billion or
Yeah,
trillion?
it was billion.
What's
700
this
billion.
number? What
Like,
is it?
The amount of money they own, it's either
Is it-
1
are they
billion
real? The
or
Rothschilds real?
Oh, 100%.
That's real.
Oh, 100%.
There's a family that owns all the banks.
No, there is a family that has a considerable amount of money they pass down from generation to generation, and these
And they run
younger
the central
generations
banks.
How
have
much is
figured
it?
out
That's
how
the
to not
conspiracy
fuck it up.
theory that they
Well,
run the
how much
central
is it,
banks.
Joe?
They
Is that's not
definitely-
real?
We
How
don't
much
know.
is it?
We don't know.
I
They
don't know
say,
if it is. That's what they say, but
Okay,
that
hold
could
on.
be lying.
They say between 1 billion and 700 billion.
Snoop says 500 trillion.
But do they even exist?
No.
Do,
It says
do the
false.
Rothschilds even exist? That could be a conspiracy.
Can I
theory
say
right there.
one thing?
The
Okay.
Rothschilds are a hoax.
Hey,
they
Eddie,
don't exist.
one thing
Hold on.
about the Rothschilds, when you talk about the Rothschilds and these different big families, there's one thing in common.
It's a hoax.
Nope, follow me on this.
They're white.
If you hear, nope, they're all Jewish. And by the way,
That's a hoax.
if you look at their roots, if you look at the roots of these,
Are
a
you
lot of
saying
these,
Jews
a
are
lot of
good
these
with money
rumors,
now?
a lot of these rumors and conspiracies, they start in the
Freemason.
neo-Nazi camps and the ultra right-wing camps, and a lot of the anti-Semitic,
that a
Are you
conspiracy?
giving me a history
No,
lesson
it's
based?
not.
That's a conspiracy.
Are
That
you
goes
giving me a
way
history
back.
lesson?
That goes way back into Europe. That goes way back with the Nazis. So just be careful where these things come from. You'll find that
I
their
don't know.
roots.
Hey,
No,
listen,
I know.
I don't
know
know
you don't.
shit.
But their roots a lot of
I'm
times.
on YouTube.
Yeah, their roots sometimes start in really
I don't
awful
read
places.
books.
So
You should read a book every now and then.
Hey, listen.
I got some
don't
books
know.
for you.
I don't
Lawrence
know.
Wright, the guy
I
he's
don't
had
know. I don't
Going
know what
Clear
to
and The Looming
believe.
Tower, two
I don't
very
know what
good
to
books.
believe. I don't know.
The Plant Paradox, which I'm reading now about food, very interesting.
Unless it benefits me to believe something, unless I make money from it.
Yeah.
Like if say, dude, you're
don't
a
wanna waste
fucking
time.
idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You know, like what if I believe this, dude? You could be fucking. Your kids could be go to college for
You want
free if you
measurable
just believe
results.
this and just if you just sign off and say you believe it. I'm like, that's not what's going to happen. Is it illegal if I don't believe it? Will I get thrown in jail? No. Then I don't want to. If I don't want to believe shit, if it doesn't hurt me, it shouldn't be such a big deal. That's I don't know what to believe, man. I don't know if the Rothschilds are real. I don't know if reptilians are real. I don't know if
Reptiles?
Satanism is real. I don't know shit.
One thing I'd say is getting closer to the truth can be achieved by looking at all the independent lines of inquiry, all the independent lines
Are you
that
sitting
come
here
to
trying
one
to tell
consensus.
me how to come to the truth,
Yeah, that's
Bryan
what he's
Callen?
doing.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that what
saying-
you're trying to tell me exactly how to come to
Well,
the
no,
truth?
no, I'm just saying generally. I'm
that
speaking
what
in
I'm
general
hearing?
because I would never tell you to get close.
Okay, okay.
Brother, come on, man.
Well, I
I'm
think,
talking in
but
general.
let me say this because I think this is really important. One of the problems that I've had, me personally, I've had with any idea is that once I have an original idea or once I start looking at something a certain way, I become married to it.
Yes.
And I've had real problems with that in the
All
past.
of us have. It's confirmation
I,
bias.
I
We do it.
understand, but I'm just saying I've had real problems with that. Like personally, where I had to look at like what I believed and go, well, why do I believe that, and why do I think? And there's been a bunch of times, whether it's through Bigfoot or UFOs or, I mean, I've looked at the JFK assassination 100 different fucking times. You know, there's been times when I said, well, maybe Oswald got lucky. I mean, like people do get lucky. Like I've shot the first animal I ever shot. I shot at 200 yards, and I probably shouldn't have hit it, and it dropped. I could have fucked that up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can, if you're aiming at something, pull the trigger and hit the president in the back of the head. It is possible. I don't think it did. It seems to me more like some other shit was going on if you look at all the different pieces of evidence.
Our Navy
but I
SEAL
don't
friends beg
fucking
to
know,
differ.
man. And the problem with saying this happened and that happened, which I used to do all the time, is that you don't fucking know. You don't know. You don't know.
But you
and
can-
until you do know,
Yeah.
when you say you know and you might be wrong,
Right.
it becomes an ego thing.
So you can speculate?
Yes. You can get closer to
speculate.
the truth. You can
Sure.
approximate. So if you hear scientists, they always say, it's so fascinating. Scientists start always with doubt. And what they do is they always say, if you really corner science, they'll say, well, this is the most likely. Based on the data I've looked at or the literature I've read carefully, this is the most likely possibility.
Right.
It's really interesting to hear how they talk that way
Right.
because, like with global warming or anything,
Have you heard Krauss?
Yes,
Lawrence
Lawrence
Krauss?
Krauss. Yeah, listen, I've had him on my podcast. I listened to you, both the podcast you had with him, and tried to read some of his book. It was tough, but yes, I
His
love
book
him.
is rough, dude.
Yeah.
When he started,
just have to have a background.
Gauge symmetry. When he was going into gauge symmetry, and I fucked up by opening up my podcast, asking him to explain gauge symmetry.
I know.
beast.
It's insane, man.
You know what I got
it's
from that?
theoretical physics.
Yeah, I got. This is what I got
puts
from
a
that.
hole in your head.
I got that. There's a web. There's an invisible web, and when we come into contact with it, we become mass.
But
That's
we
what
have
I
to
got.
understand, as skeptical as we are of this shit, these are the same motherfuckers that put together the Large Hadron Collider.
Yes.
They are spinning atoms just slightly under the speed of light, slamming them into each other, and recreating the very instances right after the Big Bang.
Jesus.
And they're doing that shit right now.
crazy.
There's a team of scientists
how many scientists?
from
Like
100
30
different countries.
yeah,
thousands.
Thousands.
You
I
guys-
feel like
you guys,
find out how many there is.
35.
You guys
500.
all agree that Nikola Tesla was a great scientist?
Oh, he was a
would imagine.
genius.
For sure, right?
He was a genius, but you got to remember
I'm a
that
fan.
Nikola Tesla lived in a world where he was so far ahead of the curve, and there's very few people that were able to compete with him or even understand what he was doing.
Do you know that if you go to YouTube and you punch in Nikola Tesla hoax fraud, nothing comes up?
That's amazing.
No,
Makes
nothing.
sense.
Yeah,
but that's also
nothing.
a guy who lived
There's
in the
not anybody
1920s.
on the planet
dispute?
trying to say, "Oh, that shit was bullshit." There's no. You go to YouTube, punch in Nikola Tesla hoax fraud. Not one fucking video. There's videos that come up that saying. Something else was a hoax. Nikola Tesla proves it, or Nikola Tesla proves hoax, but not one video of anybody ever saying Nikola Tesla was a hoax.
I feel like a guy like that.
But this is just a fact. You can take it or leave it. Put in Albert Einstein hoax fraud. Endless videos. It's
Oh,
fucking
Albert was a freak.
endless,
but it
endless
doesn't-
videos. And they're like, wait a minute, wasn't Albert Einstein Time Magazine's Man of the Century?
Okay, but let
How
me
is
stop.
that even
Let me
possible?
stop. Okay,
I thought
Eddie,
he was the
you're getting
smartest
very,
man in the
hold on a
world.
second. Let me just help you here.
That's
you're
just-
getting very dramatic. So let me stop for a second. If
I'm
you
just-
put in,
I'm being,
if you put in
funny.
Holocaust hoax, you'll get an equal number.
I'm not talking about that.
But you
I'm
know
talking
that's
about,
true. If you put in Sandy Hook hoax, you're getting an equal number. You
Yeah,
get a tremendous number of people that think that
But
a
not
lot
Nikola
of very.
Tesla.
You're
Not
right.
Nikola
You're right.
Tesla.
It's amazing.
Why-
Well, also,
why not him?
How about people that don't think that Richard Pryor was a genius? Who
Is
the
there a-
fuck-
does
have you
it
ever
say
met a
Richard
comic?
Pryor
Have you
hoax?
ever met a comic once that doesn't think Richard Pryor is one of the greatest of all time? They don't exist.
But are there videos of people trying to prove that he wasn't the greatest?
No, but I mean, look,
No.
I
that
believe
he was a
that-
hoax. No, there's
you know,
nothing on Nikola Tesla.
I don't think that Einstein was a
Nothing.
hoax, dude. I mean,
Correlation
Einstein,
is not the
You know
same as
what?
causation, though, Eddie. You know?
Shit. I don't know nothing. All I know is there's nothing on Nikola Tesla.
yeah,
No
but it doesn't
hoax
mean
in it,
anything.
But there's thousands of you look
Okay.
into his life, like, oh,
But is there
shit.
anyone besides
You look
Nikola
into him,
Tesla that
oh,
doesn't have that?
shit.
Is he the only guy, Eddie?
Well, Thomas Edison
Look
was
into
always
it. Just-
Thomas Edison was always accused of stealing the ideas of Nikola Tesla. In fact, Thomas Edison electrocuted an elephant in the middle of what was it, the World Science
Thomas
Fair?
Edison did?
Yes,
I mean,
he
Thomas.
did.
Oh, Thomas Edison. I thought you said Thomas Jefferson.
No,
Sorry,
Thomas Edison
yes.
electrocuted a fucking elephant.
There's video of it.
because he wanted to prove that
Not-
alternating and direct current, like what AC/DC,
How fucked
which
up
was
is
Tesla's
that?
idea.
There's video of an elephant
alternating
being
current.
electrocuted, not
Yeah.
by Thomas
How
Edison.
fucked
but-
up
No,
is
but
that?
Tesla
Thomas Edison did it. The reason why he did it is to prove or to try to it was propaganda against Tesla's ideas, which were more advanced.
And there's
he
an
wanted
open form,
a
right?
movable, he wanted there to be alternating currents. And
Tesla
Edison was a direct
and
current guy.
Einstein
That's
were
crazy.
alive and kicking at the same time. Tesla There's quotes. The quotes could be bullshit.
Well,
but there's
Tesla
quotes of the
comes from
Teslas
several decades
crushing
before
Einstein,
Einstein, though.
clowning him in
Wasn't he?
public. He thought Einstein was a
I didn't hear
fraud.
what he said.
That could be that
Well,
could be
I've heard that-
bullshit. But there are quotes that can be bullshit of Tesla. They keep popping up.
Eddie, but I
Tesla
think-
breaking.
Eddie-
no. Hold on.
yeah.
Hold on. There's quotes.
Yeah.
Tesla quotes saying the theory of relativity is basically a joke. There's Tesla
No, but
quotes
Eddie,
of that.
Eddie, hold on.
No. What I'm saying is it could be bullshit, but it keeps coming up.
Well, no. We know that the theory of relativity is used, right? So that we know that that's not so much a theory anymore. But here's what I think that he's addressing. So Einstein, from what I have read, is Einstein was a great mind, but he was coming up at a time where he got most of the credit. He became a famous scientist when there were a lot of scientists working on very similar ideas.
He was an average
and
scientist who got blown up.
and contributing to the larger debate about quantum physics, right? So going
there was
beyond
also a
Newtonian
big
physics.
debate about their methods, whereas Tesla was a big fan of experiments. Einstein was a big fan of equations, and one of the big criticisms.
One of the big quotes.
What does it
he goes,
say? What are you pulling
scientists
up?
of today.
What is this? Tesla's overrated, debunking the
this
cult of
dude.
Tesla. Tesla's a popular figure in conspiracy culture. What is it saying?
McWest
What is he
debunking
saying?
Tesla. There's
He
just,
says Tesla
It's
is
not
a,
even
is,
just a
is not
conspiracy
real.
thing. What is he saying? That
He said
Tesla's
Tesla's
a
not real.
genius?
he said
No.
right here, he says Tesla was a popular figure today, but he's also a self-publicist, and this is stuff he didn't invent.
He did not invent alternate and current.
Yeah.
He just was one of many people working on it. Okay, but he's probably one of the forefront minds, right? Being a showman, helped popularize its use. He's so good at that. Eventually, had to. I don't know if he's right or not.
Dude, he's
The problem
shitting
is-
on Tesla.
I just
This
mean
is the
there's
only
no one.
guy ever.
Eddie said there's no one
This-
saying anything against him, but there is.
But
so.
Mick
Developed
West is
free
always
energy.
against. He's
he-
100% official story. He's not against. He doesn't believe in not one conspiracy.
No,
theory.
you're right, 100%, and that's one of the only criticism I had about that guy. Like when we talked about the Gulf of Tonkin, he doesn't want to even admit that the Gulf of Tonkin
Tower
was a
7.
false
He
flag.
can't. Tower
Well,
7's obvious.
Also, Operation Northwoods, he was trying to downplay. I'm like, look, man, whether or not you know what happened in any other place, like the Joint Chiefs of Staff wrote down a memo saying that what the plan was to have Guantanamo Bay attacked by Cuban friendlies that were going to give them guns, give them bombs, have them attack American
What did he
civilians.
say?
He was like, well, it never was like implemented. I was like, it doesn't matter. They signed it. Kennedy had a veto. Yes, but Kennedy vetoed it. That's why those checks and balances are in place. Like, no. The mindset behind the type of person that would want to blow up Americans and blame it on the Cubans so we could justify
The founding
a war
fathers
with
knew
Cuba.
that, though. The founding fathers
Yes.
knew that there would always be people within the
You're
government
right.
that
You're
would do
right.
anything they could, and so that's where the checks and balances,
Right,
of course,
but they
and everything
don't
else.
always go through perfectly.
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
Yeah.
if Nixon was Reagan, or I mean, if Kennedy was Reagan or Kennedy was Nixon, he might very well have let that slide. Who knows? I mean, a different person in a different circumstance with a different view of the world could have let the Joint
Yeah.
Chiefs of Staff pull that through. So that shows you the mindset.
Right.
So the mindset's undeniable that
Yes.
people absolutely do conspire. So when you're a guy who never believes in conspiracies, you do just as much damage as a guy who always believes in
Well,
conspiracies.
so Alexander Hamilton said that it's not just a king you have to worry about; it's your actual government that's been elected. So just because your parliament, he was using parliament as an example, just because parliament was voted in doesn't mean that small group of people will not get power hungry and drunk. So therefore, you've got to have all these checks and balances. You've got to have courts. You've got all kinds of things, and you have to have a Senate and a House of Representatives. This is where these ideas came from. That's what the genius of those fucking guys were.